Good afternoon, this is Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. We're starting for today with the briefing of Olena Vorobiova, the head of the Cultural Heritage Protection Regional Department. Olena will tell us how we could restore the cultural heritage sites damaged as a result of Russian shelling. Good afternoon. We know that on the night of the 24th February 2022, with the beginning of Russia's full-scale war against our country, a new era began not only in the fate of every Ukrainian, but in all spheres of our lives, including the protection of our cultural heritage. We know that Odessa region is one of the richest cultural heritage sites in Ukraine. Today, there are 4,495 monuments of cultural heritage in the region, including 1,306 monuments of history, 1,679 monuments of archaeology, 1,425 monuments of architecture and urban planning, 78 monuments of monumental art, 6 monuments of science and technology, and there is 1 monument of garden and park art. There are also 83 monuments of national significance of various types. The problem of preserving cultural heritage in the territory of the country, because of the aggression of the Russian Federation, is more relevant today than ever. The enemy's use of ballistic weapons during the shelling of our city leads both to the destruction of infrastructure facilities and to the looting of architectural heritage of historical monuments, which are on the territory of the historical center of the city. Let's recall that only during the second half of July 2023, 64 cultural heritage objects located within the World Heritage Site Historic Center of Odessa of UNESCO, which is the historical part of the city, and its buffer zone were destroyed. This is the very heart of our city. These buildings have long history, and they have been decorating the central streets and squares for more than 100 years now. 7 monuments received significant damage. These are windows, facades, interiors, authentic card filling of windows, etc. Partial damage was recorded at 9 buildings, including broken window and balcony glass, distorted carpentry filling. There are monuments where the blast wave caused damage to unique interiors, which are also the part of protected heritage. Glass was broken in 38 objects. And we consider that for these objects, the damage was insignificant because only glass was broken as a result of the missile attacks in our country. Cultural institutions indispensable for the country were damaged, like the Odessa Literary Museum, the Museum of Local History, the Odessa Navy Museum, the Odessa Academic Theater of Musical Comedy, Odessa Regional Theater of the Young Spectator, Odessa Museum of Western and Eastern Art, Odessa State Museum Lyceum named after Stolarsky House of Scientists, the Literary Museum, and the Naval Museum. These sites are not only cultural museums, but they are also located in the area of the monuments of national significance. that have a significant impact on the development of architecture and urban planning of our city. In the shortest possible time, damage assessment commissions were established to examine the damages and calculate the amount. The biggest Orthodox church in Odesa, that was built in 1795, was also destroyed. And first, it was destroyed by the Soviets in 1940, and it was restored in the beginning of the 21st century. And on the 23rd of July 2023, it was heavily damaged by the Russian missile that hit the altar, destroyed the ceiling, and mutilated the interior of the church and of this cathedral. We should also emphasize the fact that during the active phase of the war in the Odesa region, 8 cultural institutions were damaged. The preliminary estimate of damages equals to 25 million hryvnias as the result of the damaged Dachna Cultural Center in the Dachna rural community, where the club and library were damaged. In the Belayev city community, the Povstan village cultural center was damaged. The damage here is equals to 800,000 hryvnias, as well as Mirninsky village cultural center, where the damage was estimated at the level of more than 53,000 hryvnias. The Mayorovsk village house of culture was also damaged as the result of the Russian aggression. The repair work has already been carried there, and the damage was assessed at 2,300 hryvnias. The culture and leisure center of the village of the Velikodolinsk settlement community was also restored. As for Chernomark community, the House of Culture was damaged there, as well as the library there. We all know that Ukrainian legislation sets strict requirements for carrying out various types of work at cultural heritage sites. First, the complex scientific and project documentation should be prepared, and there are certain requirements that should be followed during such work. However, taking into account the current situation, the government of Ukraine adopted the procedure for carrying out certain types of work on cultural heritage sites under martial law. This is a resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine 1342 that defines the mechanism for the prompt response of authorities to eliminate the consequences of the armed aggression of the Russian Federation. The specified procedure simplifies the procedure there should be a defect act prepared, as well as invoices and conceptual notes. According to this decree, there are 2 types of repairs: current repairs and the capital repairs, that should be based on the relevant documents, including invoices, conclusions, and the technical condition acts. In accordance with the mentioned order, on the 24th of July 2023, by order of the Executive Committee of the Odesa City Council, a commission was established to examine cultural heritage sites located on the territory of Odesa, which are damaged as a result of military aggression. The Commission consists of representatives of municipal services and scientists and also representatives of the protection bodies. Currently, the Commission is carrying out an initial determination of the state of damaged cultural heritage sites, together with the experts of the Cultural Heritage Protection Body of the Regional State Administration. They discuss the possibility of emergency urgent conservation work or repair work for each object individually, and also the need to produce the appropriate project documentation and the procedure for obtaining all needed permits as soon as possible. It is indisputable that all destructions caused by terrorist enemies attacks entails colossal financial needs. And here we should note the sincere help of international organizations on the restoration and preservation of cultural heritage monuments of Odesa. Back in 2022, charitable funds from international donors were involved in order to implement measures to protect the cultural heritage of the Odesa region. Thanks to the purposeful work of the public organization Museum for Change, international partners and charitable foundations as House of Europe, Elef Heritage Museum, St. Garden, Prince Claus Foundation, UNESCO have allocated funds to purchase materials for shelters, for fire and civil defense equipment, and the means to evacuate museum collections and archives. Thanks to their financial assistance, it became possible to purchase necessary video surveillance kits, install metal shutters on the window and armored doors in the buildings of cultural institutions to protect them from the blast wave and other damage. With the help of international organizations, it became possible to purchase generators, computers, scanners for digitizing museum objects that could be damaged, rare and valuable books, metal cabinets, etc. This assistance amounts to 15,394,000 hryvnias. 30 regional museums of the region received humanitarian aid from the Swiss representative of the International Association of Museum and Professional Museum Workers, ICOM. With the support of UNESCO, the Blue Shield marks have been installed in monuments of architecture and urban planning of national importance. The Blue Shield is the protective emblem of the Hague Convention on the Protection of Cultural Property in the event of military aggression. Currently, the public organization Museum for Change, together with international partners, have provided powerful financial support to conserve buildings of cultural institutions damaged by shelling during 2023. The Odesa Literary Museum, the Odesa Local History Museum, the Odesa Navy Museum, the Odesa Archaeological Museum received help. Also, the World Monument Fund of the United States is ready to provide us with grant support. Currently, the Museum of Western and Eastern Art has already submitted an application for international aid from the specified fund. Moreover, active work on documenting the loss of cultural heritage on the territory of Odesa and the region is being developed by the public initiative HEMO. HEMO collects up-to-date data on heritage, links it to the Register of Monuments and Museum, places it in database created according to international standards and an infrastructural approach, and makes it available to beneficiaries like ministries, regional administrations, architects, donors, military and special services, and society on the heritage.in.ua platform. It helps to record all cases of damaged objects and site as a result of the military aggression. Moreover, it helps to return stolen artifacts to initiate criminal proceedings against Russia, and also popularize and manage heritage. On the territory of the Odesa region, HEMA is currently working on documenting damaged sites. On the 30th of July 2023, with the assistance of the Department of Culture of the Odesa Regional State Administration, a training of the international organization HEMA was held with the museum community and the active public activists of the city. In Odessa, on the 29th of July, representatives of international organizations, UNESCO, ICOM, and ICOMOS arrived in Odessa with a mission to assess the damage caused by the occupiers to cultural and religious sites. During 4 days, the delegation recorded and documented the consequences of Russian terrorist attacks in the historical center of the city. The activities involved representatives of the city leadership and representatives of Department of Culture of the Regional State Administration and the City Department of Cultural Heritage. Based on the results and the received materials, the international mission will draw conclusions and provide recommendations regarding the elimination of the consequences of the Russian attacks, as well as involving appropriate financial assistance. We express big gratitude to the international community, which throughout the war has been providing powerful assistance to preserve cultural institutions and monuments of cultural heritage of the Odesa region. Thank you for your attention, and now I'm ready to answer your questions. Do we have any questions? Yes, but don't forget to turn on the mic.
Навушник, і в нас англійська на другому каналі.
Дякую. Добрий день. Мене звати Christopher. My question is about the importance of documenting this during the war, because the government announced changing of the Ministry of Culture and Information, etc., and expenditures, but I've pointed out that there are things you cannot really wait to do. Now is the time to do it. So would you mind elaborating on the importance of doing this work right now, and what would happen if they did not act properly? Дякую.
Thank you very much for the question. I've already mentioned that we have the Department of Culture of the Odesa Regional State Administration and the Odesa Municipal Council. There is such organization as HEMA that collects information about the damage following the standards of international law. So they organize 3D scanning of the damages, and they fully examine in all detail the sites, following international standards to initiate criminal proceedings against the result of Russian aggression. And as a result, you can find information about the results of their work on the open websites, because these are open data. I have a question to you about the residents of damaged houses. They have told me that they cannot start any work there, even conservation, because they received the Examination Act, because these houses are monuments of architecture of national or regional level. Am I right in understanding, listening to you today, that now they will be at least able to conserve the damaged houses after examination and the issuing of the relevant act? And if it is so, when do you expect these acts to be issued? Because the shelling was 10 days ago, and some houses face additional damages because no conservation was started there. Thank you very much for your question. So for conservation of these sites, it is based on the order. And according to this order, the conservation and dealing with the emergency sites can be only based on the act that is issued by the Commission, established by the Municipal Council. So as for the schedule of the examination, you should ask the Municipal Council. I would have done this gladly, but we don't have the representatives now. I understand that this is their area of responsibility, but do you have perhaps any information about this act? Because only yesterday I talked with a resident of one of those houses, and no work has been started there. As far as I know, the Commission has always been at the site of the Savior Transfiguration Cathedral in Preobrazhensk 4, where the house was heavily damaged, at the site of the House of Scientists, and in Gogolov 15. This is the kindergarten, which is located there. Perhaps there is some schedule of their examination, but the residents of those houses should better address the Municipal Council to get the information. And can you provide more information about the involvement of international organizations like UNESCO? And as far as I understand, the representatives of the mission are still there. What are they doing, and how these data that they will collect here will be used in the future? Just in simple words for us to understand this. The mission of UNESCO has already visited a range of sites that have been damaged the most. So they provide the full examination. They also communicate with the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, the representatives of the armed forces of Ukraine, local authorities. So they fully examine the situation to understand the whole image. We have not received any conclusions from them yet, but the conclusions will include recommendations on how we can work in the future, and also there will be some decision about financing restoration of the most damaged sites. So we need some more time, and we need to wait for the mission to finalize its work here. And have you raised the issue about financing restoration of the damaged sites, including the cathedral? Because now there is a discussion who should pay for the restoration of the cathedral, and it was built using the money from the Odesa community, and now this is on the balance of the Ukrainian church. So have you discussed this question? Just yesterday we discussed the issue with the representatives of the Odesa Municipal Council. And I know that the Construction Academy has already prepared its conclusion as for possibility to stay inside the damaged cathedral. The development of the Defect Act is ongoing, containing information about the current repairs needed, and the epic diocese will make the decision, and I know that the conservation work is ongoing at the expense of diocese. But what about other repairs? According to the regulation, this work can be covered by like municipal bodies. But if they can reach their goals using their own budget, they can do this. So, but first, we need to have this site conserved, and for full restoration, the terms of reference and the design documents should be prepared. And after that, we can speak about more details. But now we're talking about conservation of the building for people to be safe there during restoration work. And as if I understood you right, so now we're talking only about conservation for all sites, for all damaged objects. If and according to this regulation, according to this resolution that envisages simplified procedure for getting acts and other certificates, only conservation work can be conducted now to make it safe for workers to be there. But as for restoration of authentic elements, facades, according to the mentioned regulation, that should be done basing on the scientific and design documents. If at the moment the owners of these sites, or their legal representatives, decide that they need to start the process now as soon as possible, then according to these documents, we will see who will pay, who will get permissions, etc. Thank you, Olena. We will stop here. Thank you for being with us today. Our next briefing will be at noon, and it will be dedicated to ensuring security measures on water bodies. We will have with us the director of the Regional Department of Civil Protection. Stay tuned.